Hi, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter. Welcome to Las Colinas, Texas, to the Ritz-Carlton for the 2024 NFL Winter Owners Meetings. It's great to have you here with us. A lot going on. I was literally with Roger Goodell just 30 seconds ago, the NFL commissioner. The things are starting to heat up here. Got a few things I want to talk to you about. If you didn't read my article today, there were two reports, and I don't think either reporter uh, reported anything. I sometimes it's just but there was I addressed I addressed speaking with people in a team source in the organization about there being a mandate by Mark Davis to go get a quarterback with the first round pick, and that it was a conclusion um, that Antonio Pierce was going to be gone. Both of those are what I was told by a source not accurate. And it would be a source that would know, number one. And number two, it doesn't mean that either won't happen or that both might, but there's nothing that's a foregone conclusion and there's been no mandate. The only mandate is the organization has got to get back to winning. And that is where this organization is right now. Spent a lot of time today talking about draft, getting some feel on some guys. What are guys, are places thinking? It's important in this process to talk to people that you trust, um, who will give you quality information. You may remember last year, everyone's reporting the Raiders are moving up, and I was reporting early that there was no moving up. Teams were above them were not going to move their picks. It's too early now because we don't even know a draft order of what's going to happen. But so I'm really digging in on, especially at the quarterback side, who are some quarterbacks that you like? Who are some guys that are possibly out of the first round, but you think are very good? I'm going to get into all that in a minute. But I had one particular NFL executive say to me, if you're not convinced at a guy early in the first round, he goes, why would the Raiders not go spend 40 million and get Sam Darnold? He goes, you get a guy that's experienced, he's playing very well, and he's still young, but he's past that learning stage now. He's a veteran, but he's still a young veteran. And I just thought that was interesting for a couple of reasons. First of all, I asked this guy in particular, are you saying you don't think there's a quarterback there early that is that promising? And he said to me, I don't know yet. He goes, there might be. I don't know yet. He goes, but if I'm not convinced that a guy there is an absolute can't miss, he goes, I'm signing Sam Darnold and I'm taking Travis Hunter if I'm the Raiders with the one. He goes, and then he goes, remember the other advantage of having a one is you got the one in all the other rounds unless you trade them. So he goes, look how valuable the one would be at the top of the second if some quarterback falls, or if there's a guy you really like, you're going to be able to come back and get him at the top of the second round. So you get him for second round money, but being that first pick of the second round. And again, I want to reiterate, he wasn't saying that there's no quarterback um, of that value. He said, I don't know yet. He goes, we've not spent, a lot of time. His team is not in need of a quarterback. He said, we've not spent a lot of time there. He goes, so I wouldn't know. He goes, a few other positions I would have an idea, but I don't there. He goes, but don't you think Sam Darnold? He goes, you got Aiden coming back. You go draft another quarterback as well. He goes, don't you think Sam Darnold and Travis Hunter would, excite Raider Nation? And I told him I don't know. And so I'm just throwing that out to you. That's something I heard today that I thought was fascinating. I have been asked by several of you, what am I hearing as far as the perception of the 2025 class compared to 2024? I have not yet had one person tell me that they think this class is better than last year. So I think that's a very interesting perspective. I asked a couple guys if Cam Ward and Shador were in last year's draft, where would they have been picked? Both guys told me they didn't know enough. Actually, three people told me they didn't know enough right now to answer that, but to circle back with them after the combine. And one guy said maybe even after the pro day, and I'll have an answer. So I thought those were very interesting scenarios that were brought up. Again, not one person said there isn't a top flight franchise quarterback. Everyone said they hadn't done enough. Now I understand for fans, you would probably think, well, that's ridiculous. How do they not know? Well, if you're a GM or if you're a leader in an organization, you're focused on this season. You've got scouts and pro player personnel people doing stuff. You're looking at reports, but you're not really looking into all the minutia of the draft and everyone else. That is very normal at this stage. But I thought when I heard the Sam Darnold comments, I thought that was fascinating. Literally, I that's something that is going to be out there, and they thought the figure was going to be 40 million. They and now another person said to me when I presented, what I heard Sam Darnold probably 40. He said I would agree with that. He said, but I will give you one exception. I said, what's that? He goes, I haven't done a lot on this class, but I don't think it's as good as last year. So with a lack of guys, he goes, it may drive his value up even higher. So I thought that was fascinating. I thought that would be something that you would want to hear from here at the owners' meetings, just to give you a thought process. So again, I want to reiterate a couple things. Um, I do not believe there is a mandate by Mark, you have to go pick a quarterback. And I don't believe that because I've been told it by a source within the team. I do, however, believe there's an absolute mandate of this organization better win and better get back to winning quickly. There are that. As far as Antonio Pierce's job being a foregone conclusion, he's going to be terminated. I do not believe that to be accurate. Now, I want to reiterate, I would not be shocked if they pick a quarterback in the first round, and I would not be shocked, although I'm not calling for it, if AP lost his job. But I don't think any of those decisions have been made because the people that I've spoke to have always given us tremendously good information. And if that decision had been made, I would know about it. So that being said, now let's talk about what are some expectations here at the owners meeting. Well, it's pretty much now at the time of this taping, which is we're in Central Time. It's 2:54 Central Time on Tuesday here at the Ritz Carlton. As of right now, there has been, the vote has not taken place, or at least not been announced, of the approval of the additional sale of percentages of the Raiders, but there's zero concern or thought that it isn't going to pass. So there's zero expectation of that. So I would basically call it a foregone conclusion at this point with some hesitation, but that's going to be a big thing for the Raiders moving forward, just as the Raiders continue to structure themselves for the long haul. I talked again with multiple people, just again trying to get their feel on Tom Brady. I do not know this to be factual. I'm just giving opinion here. I would think Tom Brady will probably do around 5 seasons of broadcasting the NFL. That would be my guess, give or take a year or two either way. But I think that's going to probably, so that would be 4 more years. And then I would expect him to probably at least strongly consider transitioning to a much even stronger role with the Raiders, even though I think he is going to have a very loud voice. Talking to people around the league, they all continue to reiterate he's going to have a very loud voice. but I've said this with you before, I've shared this with you before, and I think it's very important to bring it out again, is that Tom is not running roughshod over Mark Davis. Tom, whatever Tom does, whatever voice Tom has, is because Mark Davis is letting him have that voice. I think that's very important. I've had some people, fans, ask me about, is Mark just going to run over? Is Tom going to run over Mark? Mark Davis may not be as strong, and he would tell you as strong of a football guy as his father. Mark Davis is an excellent businessman, and he's no pushover. He's not stupid, and nobody's going to do that. But I think he recognizes what he doesn't know, and he believes Tom Brady can bring that to the table. I have had several of you ask me for my opinion about Tom Brady. Do I think Tom Brady joining this organization is a plus for the Raiders? And I want to make this point clear. My opinion doesn't matter, although I have one and a strong one. And it's not a negative one, by the way. My opinion doesn't matter. So today, in the midst of talking a lot about the NFL draft, quarterbacks specifically, but a couple other things that I'll get into later, um, and talking about the quarterback situation and all of it, I asked three people in particular who I trust, how do you think Tom Brady makes this organization better, or do you not like the hire? Now, one man was very emphatic. He said, I think it's great if Tom's allowed to do it. That was what he said, in which I told him Tom's going to be allowed to have a very loud voice. He said, then I think it's great. He goes, I think it's going to be uncomfortable, which I thought was interesting. He said, I think it's going to be uncomfortable for a couple of years because Tom Brady does not tolerate anything other than winning. And so he goes, I think it's going to be different for him. He had Belichick, he had Bruce Arians, he had guys around him. But now there's going to be the adjustment of, and he said that Tom will put that organization under the microscope. And he's going to look at, are the janitors cleaning the hallways like it's a Super Bowl winning organization? He goes, he's going to look at every single part of it. And this man said something that I thought was fascinating. He said that one thing about Tom is he has so many connections around the league. He said, I can see him already figuring out, okay, if I need to change this guy, I'm bringing this person in. If I need to change this person, I'm bringing this person in. One person told me that with Tom's, I'm trying to remember the word he used, superhuman was the word he used, commitment to strength and conditioning. He said, I would not be shocked if he comes in and overhauls a lot of areas, but strength and conditioning, just because he's so big on that. He goes, maybe he brings in one guy to lead the whole group. Maybe he leaves it. He goes, I don't know. I haven't talked to him about it. He goes, but if I'm just giving you, and this is this man's voice, if I'm just giving you my thoughts on how I think Tom Brady makes the organization different, he goes, I think that is a big area. He goes, I totally could see him coming in and doing revamping and work along those lines, um, of strength and conditioning in other areas. Another person said to me, he is going to assemble a group of people all on one page. I thought this was interesting. He goes, he goes, I don't mean yes people, but everybody has to be on the exact same page. He goes, and that's going to be winning a Super Bowl. Now, the man gave me a fascinating analogy. He said, when players have come out and been critical of having played with Tom Brady, that he was a machine, that it was just work, 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 wasn't a bunch of fun. He goes, what's Tom's answer been? I thought winning was fun. He goes, if there are people that just like their job working for the Raiders, he goes, I don't know that they're going to like an organization that the joy in the job is the winning of the Super Bowl. I thought that was really an interesting analogy. So I'm trying to pass on as much information to you as I can. I'm going to be continuing to work the rooms to find out from people what their thought process is. But again, at the time of this taping, um, no decision's been announced, but there's not expected to be any drama whatsoever. I want to reiterate that I think every option for this organization, other than Mark Davis, is up for change. I'm not saying that everybody other than Mark Davis is going to be changed. I'm not saying that, so please don't hear that. But I don't think there's anything safe right now. I think the Raiders are going to go through and ask a lot of questions. Again, I had one person say that um, the Raiders being 2-11, you can't put all of that on AP. I mean, look at the injuries. You look at the quarterback play, and it wasn't like he knew he had a quarterback. Now, clearly, he had a hand in the hiring of the offensive staff for sure, but also there were people that didn't feel like he should go with inexperienced coordinators. And those are just interesting tidbits of information that I got. So again, here at the 2024 NFL winter owner meetings, day one, a lot of interesting comments, such as a lot of feeling that the 25 quarterback class is not as good as 24. And if the Raiders don't have one, or even if they do, if they're not sold that there's a proven guy there, do they go for a proven guy in Darnold at 40 mil a year and go pick up Travis Hunter? That's a thought. I'm not saying they should. It's just a thought. We've also talked about there seems to be a lot of people that just don't have an opinion yet on the quarterback class. Just don't have an opinion on the quarterback class. Doesn't mean they don't have a thought process of where they are a little bit, but not a definitive opinion. And again, the expecting the ownership to be approved with no hassle. So from here at the 2024 NFL winter owner meetings, I'm Hondo Carpenter. Of course, we'll have another update tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you all are well. Wish you a very Merry Christmas. If you get down to Texas, you better make sure that you go to Pappasito's, the best Mexican food in the world. In the world. And it's based right here in Texas. See you all again from here at the Ritz Carlton tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.